let the raw audio out.
I don't know where it came from.
I'm almost
liar.
That's where it came from.
I'm almost thinking that somebody is sabotaging her, because how could she say, okay, we're going to lie to the people by editing this audio to make it sound like we stumped them, and it's going to be devastating.
This is somebody.
But if we're going to do this, we've got to hide the real audio.
Somebody uploaded this to SoundCloud. Somebody uploaded this specific bite to SoundCloud.
So she thought that she had it all secure.
I don't know.
She's got to be she's got to be screaming. How did this get out?
Right.
She's got to be screaming. If I did this, and I would never do this because I'm not a liar.
Not a liar. No.
If I were to do something like this, if I was evil enough to make it my job to propagandize the public with lies and false information, then I would be absolutely furious that this happened.
Yeah. And you're listening to Smith Radio, smithradio.com. You can find us all over the net, facebook.com/Smith Radio, or follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio, SMYTH, if you want to be a part of the show. 513-888-1538. Talking about Katie Couric being a liar and a hack job with this
editing of the audio.
The name of this documentary, which should be called a mockumentary because it's pathetic. It's called Under the Gun.
Now, I'm all for freedom of speech.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, but don't.
But I don't think that people should be allowed to call a film a documentary if it's this much lie. It's kind of like the Michael Moore thing. His is full of it's basically false propaganda for the most part. I think that when it's hard to determine exactly when you cross the line of no longer being a documentary and being propaganda, but I think there should be standards, and I think that you should not be allowed to call something a documentary when, I mean, it's like To Hell and Back with Audie Murphy. It was starring Audie Murphy himself playing himself, but they don't call that a documentary.
No, not at all. Well, the movie you were talking about, Bowling for Columbine, is one of them.
That's one of them. Fahrenheit 9/11 was the worst one.
Bowling for Columbine, after that came out, there's a very, very hardcore, he calls himself a Republican, libertarian, Larry Elder.
Oh, okay.
Wrote a book, did a film called Michael and Me. He did his own documentary called Michael and Me with all these women who, and all the lives that were saved by guns, and every single thing that Michael Moore did in his documentary Bowling for Columbine was absolutely, utterly destroyed in the documentary Michael and Me. It's a very, very awesome. Watch it with your wife. Will wake her up to gun and gun safety and why we all need to have guns.
That sounds awesome. I haven't seen it, but I definitely want to now.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Michael and Me.
I want to see that. Yeah. And also there's a response to the Fahrenheit 9/11 movie. It's called Fahrenheit 9/11. Right. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, we bought that at the time because I think the proceeds were going to whatever. But I was really annoyed and irritated and offended by Fahrenheit 9/11 because it was basically an attempt. It was during the election year,
right?
And it was an attempt by Michael Moore to sway the voters by coming out with a lying, fake documentary indicting George Bush for the 9/11 thing.
Right, and then recently came out with another one saying that fracking was causing water to catch fire.
Yeah, that was a lie, too. Because it turns out that before it had always been flammable liquids in the water supply in that area, even before the fracking. It's just a phenomenon in that area.
Oh, no, you don't know. No, you don't know. So Katie Couric's thing, Under the Gun, bills itself as a documentary that examines the events and people who have kept the gun debate fierce and the progress slow.
I'm worried about the Second Amendment, people. If you look at the DC versus Heller thing, it is shockingly scary.
2011. When did 2011?
2013.
2013.
It was really recent.
2013?
Yeah, really recent.
So it was almost one of the last things that Antonin Scalia prevented.
Right. It was a 5-4 vote that had it gone the other way, the Second Amendment would be gone.
Right.
Completely gone, because the argument on the dissent was that you should only be able to be armed if you're in a militia. And their idea of a militia is either you're in the police force or you're in the military, which not only is it a misunderstanding of or miscomprehension of the actual text of the Second Amendment to think that you have to be in a militia in order to be armed. That's not what it says. What it says is that is one of the reasons why the right to bear arms cannot be infringed.
Right.
But you don't need to be in a militia. It just says that that's a reason.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. So you're actually ignoring the first two sentences and jumping down to the bottom and taking it out of context. But that's what they do, though. That's
Not only that, but they're also completely misinterpreting what a militia is. You don't have to be in the police force or in the military to be a militia, because a militia, by definition, is citizens. It's like a ragtag, well-regulated militia, which is just a bunch of citizens. It's kind of like the people that were fighting the Revolutionary War. That was considered militias.
Correct. Did you hear about Obama being rattled? We got to get this one out. You want to play it?
Ahead, yeah.
Gotta get
They are paying very close attention to this election. I think it's fair to say that they are surprised by the Republican nominee. They are not sure how seriously to take some of his pronouncements, but they're rattled by him. And for good reason, because a lot of the proposals that he's made display either ignorance of world affairs or a cavalier attitude or an interest in getting tweets and headlines instead of actually thinking through what it is that
Oh my gosh, should have edited this.
America safe and secure and prosperous, and what's required to keep the world on an even
All right,
keel.
well, let's get to the nuts and bolts.
that was only 45 seconds.
It was like he said what he needed to say in the first 10 seconds.
Right, but I wanted it to go on because I love it when he's off teleprompter. He can't speak. He can't put a sentence together.
All right, so everybody was railing on him, saying that the leaders are rattled, foreign leaders.
Right.
And the Republicans and conservatives and whatnot were saying, good, they should be rattled. But nobody has said what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
Look out.
Break it.
He said, and they being the foreign leaders,
right,
should be. Do you know what that means? He's literally telling them to get ready for war with America.
Yeah, you better get rattled. And you should be good reason to be rattled, and you should be rattled. If you're not rattled, you better be rattled.
Yeah, if you're not rattled, you better get rattled. And by the way, if you are rattled or you should be rattled, and I'm telling you should be rattled, that means you should be gearing up for war against us. Not me. I'm with you guys. I want America to be fought into a war.
One world government. That's what I want.
I want America to be declared war against, and I want America to lose, particularly if Trump is going to be president. So please, I'll help you every way you can. I want you guys to gear up and run up and get ready for war, fight America and defeat her, and I'll do everything in my power to do that. And that's why I'm telling you that I understand you're rattled, and you should be.
Yo, yeah. And if you aren't quite rattled, you better get rattled.
Unbelievable. Why did nobody notice that? And they should be. That is key.
Oh, to the whole thing. And we're not taking it out of context. We're taking him out his word. These are the words that he is using. Just listen to him. He'll tell you what he's thinking.
It's like that soundbite that took me a second to get the first time you played it, where he said, "The problem is that America is not a dictatorship," or "I'm not emperor." The problem is I'm not emperor.
The problem is So I'm president of the United States, not the emperor.
That's the problem.
Yes, the problem is I'm the president of the United States.
Oh, that was and you said that and you played it, and it took me like a second listen, and I was like,
oh, yes.
He tells you what
the problem is.
The truth is, he actually says the truth a lot of times, but you have to think about it. You have to read between the lines. You have to discover it. Well,
just maybe not even read between the lines. Just use his word.
Yeah,
trust that his words are what he's saying, and listen, and just it's there. It's an amazing that this man was ever elected and reelected. The loss in faith of the American people, it's so disheartening. And he has become the absolute worst president of all time. There is no doubt in my mind. The economy is in the tank. The unemployment is in the tank. 96 million Americans not working. $20 trillion in debt. I mean, it's just going through the roof. All this money and all this stuff just going out and out and out. And it's just, there's no end to this guy. And check this out. This week, there's an article came out about this knucklehead. Powerless to stop the civil war in Syria, the Washington Times laments. Mr. Obama has instead offered the U.S. as a safe haven for those fleeing the conflict, promising to accept 10,000 refugees between October 1st and September 30th.
Why are we doing that?
As of Tuesday evening, he'd approved 2,540, an average of about 10 applications a day. To meet the 10,000 goal, the pace will have to spike to 60 a day.
Why are we doing this? Well, what purpose? What is this serving?
The State Department admits 80 Syrian refugees on Tuesday and 225 on Monday, setting a new single-day record. As President Obama surges to try to meet his target of 10 grand, officials insisted they're moving faster because they're getting better at screening and say they're still running all the traps on applications. But the new spike in numbers is stunning, with more people accepted on Monday alone than were approved in the entire month of January and February combined in one day.
This is ridiculous. And what's worse is it's going to get a lot worse. I think Obama's going to do a scorched earth policy. Number one, he's going to get, if he could get 100,000, he's going to get 100,000.
Right.
Even if it means just telling them not to let the plane turn around on its way here.
They were talking about millions and millions of dollars flying them here, boating them here.
And he'll do that. And the thing is who can physically stop it? And once they're here, who can legally stop it? Nobody. You can't be stopped. Once they're here, it's over because they're now refugees under the protection of they're not illegal immigrants. They're actually here legally as refugees, which is the same kind of people that blew up everybody at the bus marathon.
Right. They were refugees as well.
Yeah.
Just a nightmare that's beginning to happen.
You can't get them out of here because Trump
said everyone that he admits he'll turn around and send him back.
If he can.
I don't know if you could do that.
I don't know if you can, and that's the problem. We're in major problems if we can't get them out of here. I mean, we're going to have to do... I think what's going to end up having to happen if we're really able to solve the real problem.
Oh, my goodness.
We out?
Yeah, man, I'm lost.
We almost out of time?
Holy smoke.
Yep, we're almost out of time.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but we might have to do what they did in World War II with internment camps. I mean, there's no other way to ensure our safety.
How do you not?
Well, you could just go down the road of Europe and just get blown up periodically.
Well, Chris Matthews did ask Trump, and Trump said nukes are not off the table.
We're going to have to nuke ourselves.
Would you nuke America? I'm not.
Russia was going to nuke themselves if we attacked them.
with unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
It's true, folks. It's true.